This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast. Today's discussion is the concept of go-to people in business and in life. So whatever business you're in, whatever leader you are, I've hardly ever found a leader that's highly successful that doesn't ultimately build his or her team, his or her leadership around a handful of go-to people. And great leaders might have a span to be able to handle 5 to 7 go-to people, whatever the number is. You know, there's this concept of spans, how many people you could manage, how many people you close with, but far better to have a handful of go-to people versus 20 go-to people that you're not really that tied to, that connected to, that close with, that reliant on, who you can't rely on. So the concept is, in almost everybody's business life, you need a handful of go-to people. I've watched, for example, Jessica Cole, the CEO of Becker's Healthcare, develop a core group of people that I would say are her go-to people, the people that she really works with. I've seen it on the boards that I work with, that, you know, often a CEO relies so heavily, or a health system CEO relies so heavily on a great chief operating officer, or a great chief strategy officer, a great CFO, or a great service line person. But whatever it is, if you don't have go-to people, you know, it's hard for me to understand how successful anybody could be without having a go-to team, go-to people on their team. When I see a great leader bring over a handful of their other executives from their prior job, I'm always inspired that that person knows the team they've built, those people are loyal to them, and they're moving and working with them. When I see a great CEO essentially say, I really can't live without my COO, I think there's multiple different pieces to that, but overall, I think it's a magnificent perspective on life. Yes, you want to build deep teams where you're not throwing on one person, but at the end of the day, this concept of anybody who runs anything great has go-to people they trust like families, that they trust and that do great work. So this concept of go-to people in business. In life, I think it's very much the same, whether it's a life partner, a spouse, your best friends. I know that my life is built around a handful of people, kids, best friends, et cetera, just a handful of people that are really the go-to people in one's life every day, to feel comfortable, to feel connected, to avoid that sense of loneliness they talk about. There's a great article on San Mateo County, and Erica Carvajal wrote about this today at Becker's Healthcare. It's the first county in the country to talk about loneliness as a public health emergency. And again, whatever age you are, having those core go-to people in your life, whether they're a best friend, a life partner, a spouse, a mate, your siblings, whoever it is, your closest friends you've cultivated over time, so important in business and life to have go-to people in your life. And I think that's the concept today, go-to people in life, go-to people in business, the critical importance of those two. Thank you for listening to the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast. At any time, text me at 773-766-5322, and we'll provide you the Amazon gift certificate for the day, 100 hours, if you're the first person to text me. Thank you so much for listening to the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast.